But in the bottom left, in the red for Kaitsa Gaming, he is Solar. Oh, wow.
Oh, that was
slow.
Now they're really switching it up on us, making us guess. As in the blue in the top right, it's your Protoss. His name is Patience. And yeah, I mean, I'm a bit surprised that Patience did choose this map because, of course, the players, they knew that what the three starting map lineups would be, and so they chose a player to go out onto each one. And Patience was like, you know what, I'll take Jagannatha here. And so we'll have to see what he has prepared, what he's going to go for. Of course, the flavor of the past few months has been the Void Rays. And on this map, it's decent. The only issue is, of course, with the short rush distance, there is a lot of opportunities for the Zerg to do those Queen all-ins to try and kill you. So, I've kind of seen a few players kind of have different responses to that. Some of it is going for the Void Ray and then switching into a ground-based army once you get 2 or 3 out. And then others can sometimes even completely forego that, just go for an Oracle and Phoenix, and then just go straight into the ground army on this map.
Okay, FireBird, I don't know what PvZ you've been watching. I don't remember the last time I saw Phoenix in PvZ in the last 6 months. In all seriousness here. I think I've seen one where someone decided to go Mass Phoenix, and I was freaking out because who goes Mass Phoenix anymore? But realistically, it will be the Stargate opener. It will be a Void Ray into an Oracle. And really the question after that point is, if this is a Stargate opener. I mean, it could be Patience saying, to hell with it, I'm going to go for some fancy glaive timings. And I have seen some pretty cool builds. Actually, I saw a really cool build out of Joe-Un against DRG in the ITAX Group B, in the ITAX Ignition Series Group B, where he goes 3-gate Adept Glaives. Doesn't really get aggressive with it, but he's showing that he's going for 3-gate Adept. And of course, 4-gate Adept, well, you get your third base at a good time anyways. So he does that, and then he actually gets Blink and +1 afterwards and goes for a +1 Blink Immortal timing off of 66 probes and just smashes his opponent. He smashes DRG in that game 3 of the Decider Smash, and that was a really cool build. Right? That is not something you see all that often. So we are starting to see players move away maybe from Stargate all the time, every time, keeping the Zerg a little bit more honest. But yeah, if it is going to be Stargate, it's going to be Void Ray into Oracle, into a third base, into maybe a second Stargate. Very much depends. And after that point, it's either Disruptors or it's Storm, right? That's how the meta goes. And well, we're going to see this is a really late Twilight, actually. Right? Generally, the math says, unless, I have my timings off by a minute and I'm not thinking straight. Yeah, this is a late Twilight. Normally the math says, okay, well, if you don't see Warp Gate started by 2:20, right, 10 seconds after your Overlord arrives, it's gonna be Stargate. Otherwise it isn't. But that's a late Cyber finish, and it's going to be both Warp Gate and Stargate. It's gonna be Warp Gate into Stargate, or I guess they were right around the same time. But it feels like Patience was late on his Warp Gate tech. Wait,
yeah,
what?
This is strange. I can't say I've seen this before. I mean, my brain wants to say, my crazy brain wants to say Phoenix Adept. But that's obviously not going to be it, as we have the Void Ray coming out. But it is going to be, I believe, an immediate transition into having a substantial ground army as well, because you do see that Twilight coming down so soon alongside this third base. So it's not going to be all out into the Void Rays. There's probably not going to be a second Stargate to follow this up. It's just going to be the 1, get 2, maybe 3 Void Rays if you feel like you need the extra defense. But then after that, I believe we will see Patience add on the additional gateways. Does have 2 Adepts here pushing out. Manages to actually get a cancel on that Creep Tumor, which is always nice. And pushing on into the third, well, technically the third base here. What is the natural position? Got to be able to get 2 workers, and it's... denying a bit of creep and 2 workers, it's good. Not entirely worth it, but it's information as well for Patience.
I mean, my brain's just getting all types twisted here. I made sure that I'm not crazy on my timing talk. No, I mean, yeah, no, it is 2:20 is your if you don't have a Warp Gate by 2:30, that's the timing. The Sire wasn't done before 3 minutes, and then we saw a Stargate. And then a Twilight immediately. The Twilight was happening was being built as the Stargate was finishing. And now we have 2 more Stargates? Patience. Are these mistakes, or is this a designed build, right? Is this I am just doing what I can to make Solar as confused as possible. But that being said, right? And I've been talking about this a good bit as I've been casting a couple things, because I've certainly been covering a lot of people that do some crazy stuff. If you don't know what your opponent's doing, if your opponent's doing something really weird, you just go kill them, right? You don't let them get away with whatever they want to do, because generally something like that's going to take some setup time. And we did see Solar try just a little bit. He moved his Zerglings across the map, tried to do something there, and 16 more Zerglings are on the way. We have a lot of Roaches as well. So, I mean, Solar here, he's only on 45 workers, right? He does not have a lair on the way. He is absolutely going for some sort of Queen Roachling attack as well. We just see Roaches on the map for the moment. I'm surprised we don't see the Queens walking yet. There they are. But normally you start with the Queens, right? You do normally start them across. And it's, how many Queens are on the map right now? It's only 2 walking at the moment. There's 3.
3. I mean, it's not... I think the issue here for Solar is he's obviously pulling the trigger on this. He says, you know, I don't know what's going on. I just need to try and kill you. But with only 3 Queens? I mean, there's going to be 5 Void Rays out, or 6 even. This is such a strange build from Patience, but I mean, I feel like it's going to work out. This air count that he has, this Void Ray count, is going to be pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, we have 3 Void Rays at a time coming on in, and it is only 6 Queens. Okay, 6 Queens looks pretty good. Actually, it looks like Patience doesn't quite have the money to support 3 Stargate Void Ray right now. He's only building 2 at a time for the moment here, and that's going to be 3 now. Now, we're going to have a bunch, and that is a bunch, by the way, of shield batteries getting on the way. We had 4 on the way and already 3 more built, so they're like 7 shield batteries that exist on the map. Of course, 4 in the natural. That's going to be the first level of defense here. Zerglings are going to try to punch on in. And while maybe this Queen Roach Ravager is not the strongest component of this push right now, the Zerglings, well, Void Rays don't kill Zerglings all that quickly, so now the Void Rays are going to keep taking this fight. Zerglings are going to find their way on in as the wall is now down, so I do love this from Solar. He says, look, okay, you got a lot of Void Rays. That is certainly true. I will give you that. But Void Rays don't kill Zerglings all that fast. So that is something we have to pay attention to here, as how many Void Rays are on the map right now? Again, it's 3 at a time. These Queens, we're going to rapidly hit this point where the Queens just cannot fight this number of Void Rays. It's only 6 Queens. And how many Void Rays do... I really wish we could see the Void Ray count, but it's very high.
Yeah, and honestly, you know, mind you that this does reach a point where Patience, even though he does lose the natural here, he's only lost 5 probes. He's not terribly far behind in the worker count, but now the units are getting on into the main. He has zoned out the Queens, though, with the rest of his Void Rays, and so he can keep the ones on in the main. And this just means, I mean, I feel like Patience still here is in a good spot. He hasn't died. He's, you know, sure, he's lost that natural base, but he's still even on workers. And he now has a massive Void Ray count. I think he's approaching probably like 12 or so here against the 6 Queens of Solar. And yeah, now he's going to be able to just burst down these Queens.
That he absolutely will, but look at this. We have a Spire halfway done now for Solar. He is going to most likely go on into Mutas behind this. Mutas, of course, fairly good. Actually, very good against a bunch of Void Rays. That being said, again, this is a lot of Void Rays. The army on the right-hand side is a lot of Void Rays. The army on the left-hand side, also a lot of Void Rays. As Patience says, you know what, I heard Void Rays were good. Why don't I make a lot of them? I guess that's the logic there. Now, Nice Biles will keep these Void Rays microing and make it so they just can't kind of sit there and kill things. And it's, well, only 2 Queens have died thus far, but now, well, we're going to see this fight get taken here. All these Queens are going to go down. And with it, we will see this army of Solar get taken out eventually, but no, he's going to run back immediately. And he does, I believe, now have Roach speed. So he will be able to escape with, actually with all of that, well, okay, with most of that army, as a bunch of Zerglings on the right-hand side are biding their time, waiting to move on in. But someone called in the fleet, right? No, that's a battlecruiser line, I think. Anyway, that is a metric ton of Void Rays here. They're going to find their way. Nice transfuses from Solar will keep these Queens alive for the time being. And Solar has done a good job building Queens, but that was only one energy-rich Queen. So these are all just dying here. They are getting slapped aside. But of course, all this damage on these Void Rays does mean that when these Mutas do pop, well, these are some dead Void Rays indeed.
Yeah, I mean, this is maybe a bit too aggressive here from Patience. He gets biled as well. A run by into the main. GG is called in Patience. But here we are into game number 2 in the bottom right. It's your red Zerg, and we're back to the fast intros as it is Solar.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep us off balance as possible in the bottom, in the upper left. In the blue for Good Game Gaming, he is Patience. Look at that. Incredible.
Nice. Very, very impressive. I feel like it's a bit easier when you go second because you kind of know the timing. what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell how quickly they're going to go on into the loading screen into the game, and sometimes you don't even see the loading screen. They just kind of forget to show it, and then you're like, oh crap, we're in the game. I had one game yesterday where they loaded onto the game. They showed us the game on the clean feed when it was like one was just disappearing from the in-game countdown, and you're like, oh no, observers, please show mercy. And
I better stop talking about whatever I was talking about and get right on into it. Just
yeah. Now, of course, I was looking at this map for a second. I'm like, man, why in the world would Solar pick Romanticide? But no, this is Patience map pick. Because he did, of course, lose game number 1, and apparently I just cannot remember tournament rules. It's fine. It's whatever. And you know what? Hey, Romanticide, it's a good day. It's a good map for any sort of Stargate build. It's a lot harder to make these Queen Walk builds work. In fact, I don't really see them as much. I do, on this map in particular, it does seem that Zergs are, if not happy, at least okay. Except the fact that the Protoss player will get their 3 bases, they'll get them up and running, and then the goal, of course, then will be to break the 4th base, right? We'll see some Queen, Hydra, Ling, something timing onto the 4th base. It's kind of what I normally see as they attempt to break this. But, you know, with that being said, I'm almost surprised we don't see Protoss more and more taking the 12 o'clock base instead of the 9-ish base, the kind of interior 9 that they do take on the linear third, the linear 4th, right? Because that is I believe that is a far shorter rush distance to go from like the Zerg 4th base, the Zerg 3rd base, to that linear 4th base position than it is to the 12 o'clock position. And hey, you know what? If Zergs just want to all in all the time, take that base that's maybe a little bit far away from your main base, sure, but it's also, well, actually, the rush distance may not be as significant as I'm thinking it is. I haven't actually mathed this out. I'm just, you know, talking out of my butt. As Patience, though, he doesn't care about Stargate on this map. In fact, this looks like it's going to be proxy DTs, I think, based off of where that probe is.
Proxy DTs, or even could be some sort of an adept build, but I think, yeah, maybe going for that DT shrine and hiding it away in that nice little corner is what the name of the game is going to be for Patience. And yeah, with the pylon going down, it can most assumedly be that, as actually 2 Lings here just going to sneak on in. Absolutely nothing available to defend, and Solar says, well, thank you very much. I now get to see everything, and it is Glaives.
Is it, though? I'm not convinced it is. I think this is a fake. I think this is Patience, you know, spinning up. Oh, yeah, Solar, I'm going for a Glaive build. You know, be prepared for that. Sure. But in reality, this is going to be DTs. It may be DT Glaives, which is, of course, a thing that was a thing for a little bit of time here. But now, well, the Zerglings will eventually die. Oh, no. It's a gateway on the way. Never mind. It will actually be Glaives. Well, you know what this is going to be? This is going to be a Glaive all-in. Well, he makes it look like it's a Glaive timing.
Yeah. And I mean, there's also the bit of mind games to Patience just starting up that upgrade and Solar scouting it. So Solar sees that and says, well, it could be charged, could be Glaives. Either way, you know, I've scouted this. So Solar probably thinks that, well, he's going to cancel it because I've seen it, you know? There's that mind game of questioning whether or not your opponent is really going to go through with it once you've seen what their build is. And Patience just saying, you know what? I'm going to keep going. Has 2 more gateways coming down, has the proxy as well set up, and this might very well be an all-in if we see 2 or 3 more gateways as well added on. But we have the Roach Warren from Solar. He's going to play it safe, and that is what Solar does well.
Oh. Okay, so...
Whoa.
I'm looking at this, I'm like, what are these mind games that Patience is playing? So, it's Glaives, but we have double Stargate on the way. Solar, however, did scout. Did he finish Glaives, or was it canceled?
Yeah, he let it finish.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I think this is a Glaive timing into +1 double Stargate. The Glaives, the idea of this Glaives is to buy time and to say, look, I am going Glaives. You don't need to build like 7 queens. Give me time to get into the Stargate play. But Solar also scouted the fact that there is double gas on the natural, which is not something that you do if you're going for a Glaives all in. So, that being said, though, it also looked like Patience. He pulled probes out of the gas for the time being. I want to see those gases again because it looked like he pulled gas out to say, look, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, it's fine. As Patience is just twisting our minds into, you know, complex knots here. I don't know if it's going to work out. It's double Stargate Phoenix. Oh, my. Oh, me, oh, my. What in the world is happening here?
Well, so far, 3 drones have been killed. These Glaive Adepts not getting a lot of success, but it's 2-base Phoenix. Patience. I mean, this is cool. Will it work?
I mean, it is 3-gate Adepts, which is a lighter pressure build, and it's actually really cool. We are starting to see some more variation in the number of gates, right? We do see with these Glaives builds, kind of like we've started to see in PvT, right? Okay, the Phoenix now will be revealed. That's going to be nice here for Solar. But anyway, right? You know, when we talk about PvT, for example, as this changeling will be lifted. There we go. Now it's going to get killed off. At the start, you know, when we talk about these blink builds, yeah, it's like 3-gate blink. That was kind of the standard whatever. And then Protoss players were like, yeah, I can cut a gate off and get my third a little bit faster and have fun with that. And I could also add a gate and, you know, do an all-in. I guess the all-in was kind of already known, but actually no, I guess more of it started with the all-in, and then like, okay, I can play a more middle of the road build with 3-gate. Then oh wow, I can play a really greedy build with 2 gates. So we are starting to see that here from our Protoss players, as the Phoenix will at the very least do a good job of knocking out a bunch of Overlords, supply blocking Solar for the time being. But of course, well, he has learned. He's played against many Stargate builds in his life. He understands that you just build a lot of Overlords to make up for that. But hey, Queens are going to start to go on down here. We're going to see all the gas get taken down, and a bunch of Overlords will die. And honestly, this is not enough. This is not enough Hydras here for this to be really worthwhile. That being said, the one Phoenix will go on down, and behind this, we have Colossus tech on the way. I love this build here from Patience. This is so cool.
Patience, you know, we saw before his teammate had his head cut off. No, Patience, he needs more room. That camera needs to be taller because there's actually an additional brain. There's an additional head stacked on top of it where his massive brain sits, because, I mean, Patience is bringing out all of the craziness. These, you know, all of the, I mean, as you said, very, very intelligent, though, builds. You have the 3-gate, which allows you to macro up off of the Glaives, get into double Phoenix, and now you're also going to go back into Gateways and your ground army. But there is going to be a Roach attack here at the front. Glaive Adepts, well, they don't do good against those Roaches, and it seems like Solar's wants to end it, but nope. There's an Immortal. There's 3 sentries. Can't fight that.
No, you cannot. And I'm sorry, I believe I said it was going to be Colossus tech. No, it will in fact be Disruptors instead. Double Stargate Disruptor. I believe.
You're right.
Nope. Double Stargate Colossus. Okay, never mind. I was right, then I was wrong, then I was right again. Or I was right, then I was wrong. Anyway, that's actually really good here against the Roach Hydra composition. It's one of those things, right? Traditionally, Roach Hydra, you need to get into Hive to really make to really fight these mass Colossus styles. But hey, you know, 3 Phoenix will go on down, and notice we're not seeing Patience rebuild his Phoenix count. He got on up to like 7, and he didn't commit anymore, because again, the ground army is the thing. So behind this, it's going to be Blink Stalker Colossus, and you know what? Blink Stalker Sentry Colossus with a couple of Immortals is really good against the army that Solar is building. Now, for the moment, the army's not all that great. That being said, I mean, supplies are pretty equal. It's only a 15 supply deficit for Patience here in his army supply, and that's actually not all that big when we talk about the quality of the army that he is building. Now, we do have some Zerglings. They're going to look to move around here, and they will get the Scout by dint of, you know, existing. So that's going to be rather nice. They're going to say, okay, it's Colossus here. I need to get a Hive. And the Hive is, of course, already on the way. But this is giving Patience time to really build up into his tech. We don't have a 4th base on the way yet, and that's a bit problematic for me because, you know, Solar does have a 4th base. He's got his 5th base on the way. And Patience, it feels like this is going to be like a 2-base Blink Stalker all in, right? You get +1, you get Thermal Lance, you get Blink, you get 4 well, never mind, 4th base. Okay, never mind here. Because again, a lot of the times you see stuff like this when you see Colossus on the map, it is an all in, right? Because eventually, well, your opponent gets on into Lurkers. Lurkers are very good against Colossus. Your opponent gets on into Vipers. Vipers are very good against Colossus. So, well, there we go. Disruptors are on the way. Still, Vipers very good against those as well.
Yeah, so currently we have 4 Colossus out on the map. Excuse me, as Patience, as I said, hasn't been rebuilding the Phoenix count. Went for that, and now it just transitions out, and I love it. I love the switch arounds for the tech here for Patience. He's still trying to use the Phoenix as much as he can, and, you know, right here just gets 7 worker kills. You know, of course, Solar has a really good economy, so it's not the biggest dent, but it's just a little bit of value. It's making sure that Solar isn't moving out across the map, and make sure that he's keeping an eye on the tech as well. As it looks like Solar will actually try and move out. He's going to run into these 4 Colossus, 2 Disruptors already out, and the +2 attacks coming on the way for those units. So eventually Solar you know, he won't trade as well. As soon as those attack upgrades come through, this army will just melt all of the light units. The Hydras and the Lings, you know, against 4 Colossus will just completely get wrecked, and then the Disruptors kind of follow up. But, you know, I was going to say there's going to be a period where he has more army supply, but that period's kind of already passed. Patience has the 4th base up. He's going to start, you know, getting workers on that. He's getting 4 more gates. Patience, I think, has maneuvered this perfectly, and he's just comfortably got himself into the late game here.
Yeah, he absolutely has. Now, you know, before this fight does kick off, I do want to mention one thing, and that last little bit of Phoenix Grass. He hallucinated a Phoenix to tank for the Spores, which was very cool. As I just want to make sure that's pointed out here. So given his due is, oh, nice disruptor shots here. Now, if we remember back in Katowice, Raynor went for a lot of Lurker Hydra timings to try to kill Zest, and that was strictly because Zest does not like to go for disruptors. But, well, this opponent does. Patience has gone for disruptors too. That being said, that was a bit of a gutsy Blink Stalker move, and yeah, now Patience is honestly kind of marooned here on the high ground, right? We do have the Lurkers. They're moving on forward. The Hydras are moving on forward, and this is a bit scary here. Patience should lose this 4th base. But this does give Patience license to attack onto the other side. There are not a lot of Lurkers here. They will get targeted down. Stalkers blink forward on top of the Viper, but there's no detection here. Okay, there is. Now we go. I was like, man, that is not a good fight for Patience right now, but he has forced the army back. He is knocking this 5th base down ever so slowly, and he hasn't lost his base yet. So this actually may end up being very good here for Patience. As kind of, I'm like questioning here. I'm not exactly sure who this is good for yet.
Ooh, as that disruptor hit is going to be massive onto the Hydralisk. You see, oh no, the Lurkers are returning, but they immediately get blown up. But it looks like, I mean, it feels like Solar's just going to clean this up. He has enough stuff rallying. He actually got a Lurker drop onto the main. And it felt like a good move from Patience, but suddenly the Zerg supply just comes through, and maybe there should have been a bit more patience here with this play, as he's trying to make this work with this small army. But I mean, yeah, I mean, he just lost too many workers. 27 in the back. He's lost all at his 3rd, all at his 4th. GG is called. Solar